Okay, probably one of the most important sections of this is tracking calories. There's a lot of mixed opinions around this. To me, it is arguably the best thing anyone could learn. There is a multitude of benefits to why you should track calories, which is what I'll go into. Okay, this is a table of context, but let's move straight into it. Okay. Why use a calorie tracking? Well, besides it being 2023 and technology at the forefront of everything, there is no reason why you shouldn't use it. Okay. It is the most accurate way of estimating our calories from food. So many people say, yeah, but the USDA allows a 20% variant in food products. Who cares? It doesn't matter because now the factor of tracking means you've dramatically or automatically increased your accuracy as opposed to just playing guesswork. So tracking your calories is absolutely so important to estimate or try and get an idea of where your calories are for the day. Further to that, you are not just tracking calories to see how many calories you're having on a daily basis. You're trying to build your knowledge and understanding of the food groups you consume on a day-to-day basis and how many calories you're actually consuming. You will learn after a couple of weeks of tracking calories, oh, I didn't realize, 50 grams of granola has 300 or well, no, I should say 100 grams of granola, which is very little if you just eyeball it and poured it out. I didn't realize I was having 500 calories. There's things like that that people don't really know. They just think this is healthy, it's granola, I'll just pour it into a bowl and eat it. But then you start weighing it, and you realize, oh my God, I didn't realize how many calories is in that. That's why you track calories. Very, very simple. It's to open up your knowledge horizon of foods that you consume on a day-to-day basis. So then you can make slight little adjustments, calorie swaps in order to put you in a calorie deficit so you can lose body fat, look and feel better about yourself. Couldn't be any more simpler. And further to the point, it'll help you make better food choices. You might be able to swap some foods like granola. I'll just go oats for the time being, not the end of the world. Then I'll learn how to make them better, etc. And it'll also save you time, believe it or not. It will save you a lot of time. Once you learn how to track correctly, you will save so much time. Recommended apps. So this is based off the client base I largely work with. MyFitnessPal is my go-to one. There is better ones out there, but I use MyFitnessPal. I'm used to it. I understand how it works really well. And there's also another one called NutriCheck, which is Ireland, UK, and it also has a US database. So MyFitnessPal is probably the best international app. And you also have another one as well that I'm not going to mention, but the one that most people know. And NutriCheck as well is very good if you live in that region. These are the price points. Okay, you do have to pay for them. I always recommend paying for apps. You can go down the route and trying to find the free ones, but the databases are not strong enough. Okay, whereas very strong database, especially if you're based in Ireland, UK. NutriCheck would probably be my recommended app because it's very user friendly. If you're only starting off and you're not used to tracking calories, and it has Lidl, Sainsbury, Aldi, M&S, all those food groups that you'll typically find or typically use. So, how to track correctly? You have to weigh everything. You cannot guess. You just have to go through this period where you need to weigh things. Don't be putting in, I had a cup of tea. I had the likes of fruits and vegetables, you can estimate them, okay? But don't be estimating like rice. I had half a cup of rice. What's half a cup of rice? Is that 60, 70, 80 grams? Make sure for the very, very start that you weigh out your foods, your carbs, your fats, your proteins, your rice, your potatoes, your chicken, your mince. Weigh them. Buy yourself a scale, put it down, hit zero, put it on, weigh it. Cool, that's how much I have. Then you'll start to realize, all right, for 100 grams of chicken, whether it's raw or cooked, there's X amount of calories. I didn't know that. All right. Track hidden calories. This is where people, use like oil, sauces, condiments, salad dressings, butter, etc. And they go, I don't know what that is. Whatever. Don't guess. Weigh it. It's so simple. You put your butter down on the scales, you hit zero, you take a swipe with your knife, you spread it all over and you go, cool, I used 5 grams. I know roughly. And then as you get a bit better with it and you understand that your 2 scoops is roughly 7 grams, then you can go back to maybe doing a little bit of guesswork. But the very, very, very start, in order to get a really accurate measurement of where your calorie intake is coming from and foods that maybe you didn't account for, track everything. Everything, even the small little Snacks, and another big one is eating off people's plates. If you're eating off people's plates, if you have kids and stuff like that, you need to count for it. You need to make an educated guess because they're calories. And that goes back to my further point earlier on. Calories, you need to look at as currency. All right. You need to seriously go, right, if I'm going to take this food off someone else's plate, is that currency that I have to spend? Do I know where the calories are coming from? Am I better off just leaving it at that? All right. If you weigh something raw or cooked, put it into the app as raw or cooked. So if I have 100 grams of raw chicken, I'll go raw chicken into my app, and then from there, a raw chicken into my app, and then from there, I'll put it in, as opposed to just putting in chicken. There's a difference between raw and cooked chicken in terms of calories. So just make sure that you do that. You then for that. If it has a barcode, scan it. Okay, you're going to see gobshites online telling you, oh yeah, but the USDA has a 20% variant. Doesn't matter. Okay, just track it. Read the nutrition label at the back. Sometimes it'll give you the information, but just make sure that you track it. Sometimes the serving size might come up as the typical serving size, but you can change that. I'll do a video on it. But make sure you scan the barcode. It makes life easier. If it doesn't have a barcode, if you're like me and you live out in the UAE, and sometimes there's codes that are not on these products, just search it. Just write in the nearest name. If it's, I don't know, God, like whatever it is, if it's a bar of chocolate that you're not familiar with, just search the name into the database or search it into Google. You will find it, or get something that's very, very close to it. Okay. So this is absolutely vital. All of these tracking apps, whether it's MyFitnessPal, whether it's NutriCheck, whatever it is, they're going to ask you, they're going to say, here's your goal weight. Can I scroll in there, right? They're going to say, here's your goal weight, your goal. It'll get you to put in some numbers and stuff. Don't go by this. You are using this to track your foods. Never mind this. Never mind this. If you're on my course, if I'm coaching you currently, I'm going to give you your calories, okay? Which means you use this to calculate the calories of your foods throughout the day, which is this number here. Foods, calories, not this one. Forget about this one. That's if you're being coached by me, if you're on the TCM fat loss program or challenge. I will give you your calories and you'll use this to track your foods throughout the day to try and hit those numbers or stay in and around them, okay? You should always have the ability to look at your macronutrient breakdown. So if you're on your calories towards the end of the day, 1800, there's your protein, carbs, your fiber, and then your fat intake. And these are numbers that, hopefully you're able to hit. Cool. So avoid common mistakes. I cannot stress this enough when it comes to calorie tracking. There's a period for the first 2 or 3 weeks that you just have to put the groundwork in. And I think people come into this thinking, oh, this will be easy, tracking calories, I'll just half-arse it. You just got to put the work in for 2 or 3 weeks. Once you do, everything is easy, but avoid these mistakes. Not tracking throughout the day. I see so many people do this. If you're going to eat the same foods, fine. But if you're going to go, like say the weekends where you're going to just go at it a little bit more flexible, which I promote, you have to track as you go throughout the day. Because what you want to do is figure out, right, towards the end of the day, okay, I'm getting very close to my calories here now. And then you can make a better decision about whether you should have that last slice of cake that you were thinking about having or not. So tracking throughout the day, so it gives you an idea of where your foods are at, how close you are to your protein target, and whether you're about to go over your calories. Very, very simple. Trying to be too accurate. So, look, you do want to be as accurate as possible, but don't go crazy with this. And what I mean by this is tracking tea. You don't need to track tea, right? Tea and a small bit of milk. I would track the milk maybe once or twice, get an idea of how many mils I'm using. After that, I'd leave it. Weighing out every single vegetable that you consume. Don't be going into that much depth. Not required, okay? Not sticking to the same metrics, whether you're from Ireland or the US. If you're using grams, stick to grams. If you're using ounces, stick to ounces. If I look at like my client's nutrition report and I see grams, ounces, I'm like, we're not tracking correctly here because we're clearly just, we're taking in different variations. So stick to one metric and make sure you follow it. Don't estimate items, as I mentioned earlier on. 1 cup of rice, 3 tablespoons of oil. 3 tablespoons of oil, for context, is about 350 calories, okay? Which is something people don't know. 1 cup of rice, your cup versus my cup, could be very, very, very different, okay? Depends on the size. So make sure you just take those things into consideration. Alternative methods. If you're someone that really, really hates tracking calories, but I think everyone should try it, no matter who you are, for the first couple of weeks. You could use this method. I use this sometimes in the weekends, or I use it when I'm on holidays, or something I help my clients with who just maybe struggle a little bit with tracking or need a break from calorie tracking, because you do need a break from it. 3 meals per day, okay? Meal one, meal two, meal three, or breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it, and snacks in between, no more than two. One of the snacks must be from a vegetable source or a fruit source, and the other one can be something like a small bar of chocolate. Very, very simple. Each meal that you have, you should be aiming for 30 to 40 grams of protein, or a good serving of protein, which is usually a fist size of whatever that lean meat source is. This is a very good alternative, I think, in the weekends if you're heading away. But like that, there is a period where I think everyone should go through calorie tracking. It makes life easy, because once you go through a period of calorie tracking, using methods like this actually become a lot easier. But if you're trying to maintain, or you really, really, really dislike, this is an alternative method. And that's it for this one. Cool.